Good morning. Do you belong to a church? Do you go to church regularly? Do you participate in the ministries of that church? Now, as many of you know, Marty and I have a second home in a small town in the middle of Kansas. We also own a boutique hotel there, and so we go up there about for a week, 10 months of the year. By small town, I mean small. The population is 3,700. But it's only 15 miles away north and south from two larger towns of about 50,000, so we still have access to most of the amenities that we're used to in Frisco. Now, that's just backstory to where I'm going. The small town has 10 churches, 3 Baptists, 3 Lutherans, 1 Catholic, 1 Covenant, 1 Methodist, 1 Bible, and 3 or 4 others within a 5 or 7 mile radius. Obviously, they are not big churches. We attend the largest of the group, the Covenant Church, and they have 2 services on Sunday. Total average attendance of adults is about 275. Don't let that number mislead you, though. This is an active, vibrant church. Their senior pastor has been there for about 30 years and has a staff of 8. This is the part I like. They estimate that 45% of the adults are involved in one or more ministries of the church, and that over 175 kids are in the youth-involved programs. I don't know about you, but these are pretty impressive numbers from where I come from. One thing they do, every 2 years, they do an international program called Alpha, where existing members invite friends, family, or neighbors that don't go to church in to attend a 12-week program every Tuesday night, introducing people to Jesus. Alpha is an excellent program out of England. If you're not familiar, you might check it out. I think it's been around 20, 30 years or whatever. It starts by hosting about 100 people each week for dinner, and half of them are guests. Metro Dallas, in comparison, has over 5 million population and hundreds, if not thousands, of churches, of which probably 10 or 15 would be classified as mega churches, 10,000 plus. And I bet that very few of all those churches would have attendance or participation percentages as great as the little Covenant Church in Lindsborg, Kansas. Kudos to them. So where am I going with all this? I'm going to guess that most of you belong to a church, and that many of you attend worship at least 2 times a month, but that less than 15% are actually involved in any ministry that reaches out into the neighborhoods with the good news of Jesus Christ. I hope I'm really wrong in my assumptions here. You see, the problem is too easy just to show up on Sunday and then disappear until the next visit for worship in these big churches. Here's the rub. Remember Matthew 28, 19 and 20, the Great Commission? We're to make disciples of all nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit, teaching them to observe all that I have commanded you, Jesus says. And the Great Commission, it doesn't stress worship attendance. Rather, we're to make disciples. What's a disciple? What's a follower of Jesus? And to be a follower, they have to be taught what he taught, and then believe in him as evidenced by their profession of faith and baptism and their lifestyle. My friends, you can receive some excellent teaching from a worship service, especially from a biblically based sermon. However, more teaching is required to be a disciple. To me, that says ongoing Bible study. And when they profess their faith by their life example, that will attract others to want to know more and hopefully join them at the church. That's how the church grows. That's what they're doing in these small churches around the world. You see, it's difficult to hide in a small church. Big churches know this, and they try to break up their big congregation into smaller units of different sizes, to try and regain that personal interaction. But more than the big church needs to be engaged, we as individual believers should do what we can to disciple others too. Are you in a small group Bible study, 10, 15 people or so? If not, why don't you start one? If you don't know how, contact us. We'll be glad to give you some pointers and materials to help you get started. Making disciples is everyone's job, not just the church, not just the pastor, every believer. As always, have a great week. Life moves fast, right? But what if you could take just 5 minutes each week to pause and reflect on something really meaningful? Welcome to Mondays with Mark, a devotional that shares spiritual thoughts inspired by the Bible. Regardless of where you are, it only takes 5 minutes for our short episodes to help you reconnect with timeless wisdom in the middle of your busy week. If this devotional has touched your heart, please consider supporting us financially. Your generosity helps us continue spreading hope and encouragement to listeners of all ages. So, take 5 minutes to ponder, reflect, and grow with Mondays with Mark.